So what advice do you have to give for young people looking to break into this industry?
Yeah, when I first started, I was in a pretty entry-level role, basically office manager. So I was helping all the different departments with a lot of different things, but my day-to-day was, setting up Zoom calls and faxing things still, FedExing, like...
Hang on, wait a minute. The commissioner had you faxing still?
There were a few teams who were still faxing when I started, so that's where we were at. I think we've evolved in the past 5 years, but we were still faxing 5 years ago, which is crazy.
Hey everyone, it is Tony Will. Oh my gosh, I am so pumped for this episode of Women In. I cannot wait for you to meet my next guest. But before you meet her, let me tell you what you're listening to. Women In is a podcast that celebrates women from all walks of life and the people who uplift them. Each episode features incredible voices from my world, sharing stories that spark inspiration, challenge the status quo, and remind us that empowering women empowers everyone. This is a bold, curious, and uncensored space where disruption is welcome, forward thinking is encouraged, and change is the goal. I'm passionate about breaking down barriers, not just for us, but for the next generations. Whether our paths cross professionally or personally, these conversations matter. Let's dive in and celebrate the power of connection, growth, and the people who are shaping our world. And this woman is definitely one of them. Tara Martinek is in her 5th season with the ECHL. And first as Senior Director of Team Services and Events, after most recently serving as the Director of Marketing and Team Services. She spent her first 2 seasons as the league's offices. Wow, the S there's throwing me off. That's okay. We do this in real time, Tara. She was the league office's manager and marketing assistant before being named manager of marketing and team services for the 23-24 season. There's a lot of managing in there, and it is a lot in the league, when we're going to dive into that. Tara is responsible for planning league-hosted events, compiling and distributing internal league reports, administering the sales, consulting, and training program for member teams, and coordinating the ECHL Ticket Sales Management University curriculum, amongst various other tasks provided by the league's Team Services Department. She joined the ECHL after completing her master's degree in global sports business at Rutgers University. Tara has previous experience with Rutgers Athletics, the United States Amateur Baseball League, PGA of America, New Jersey section, and Monmouth racetrack. Must be horse racing, right? Or is this car racing? Horse racing.
Horse racing, yeah.
Okay. She earned her bachelor's degree in sports management from Rutgers. Oh my gosh. Tara, what a bio, and you're so young too. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
I'm so excited to have you on. Tell everyone how you and I met.
We met, it must have been right when I first started. I assume we probably met at All-Star, because I started in November, and then I had my first All-Star in that January. So that's where I met most people. But yeah, I met you pretty soon after I started working at the league, and we've been working together ever since.
Yeah, so as read in your bio, you are at the league office for the ECHL, which for anyone listening to this, if it's your first time, you may or may not know, but the reason I started this podcast is because of my job in professional sports. I am one of the few female general managers in professional hockey. There's another one in our league that walked this path before me. Kristen Ropp is an OG. But I started to notice that there's a big gap in women in leadership as it relates to pro sports at this level. And so I asked Kristen, I said, do you want to carry this baton as I beat this drum? She goes, no, it's all you. And I said, all right, I'm doing it. And so Tara and I have worked together for as long as she's been in the league. And I was always thrilled to work with other women in sports. And you have been kind of doing your own tour around the league for women in sports and the different events that are happening, which I'm so excited about. So let's start there. Let's step back and then go there. So talk about what it's like being, one, a woman in sports, and two, being at the league level. Because I think a lot of people think that the league level is, or sports in general, is just sexy. But then you get real sexy when you work for the league. Like, oh man, this is like, they must be in some high-rise building in a big city, and it is a bit like this big job, and they make lots of money. And is any of that true, Tara?
I'm sure for some league offices it is. We are in a very small brick building in Shrewsbury, New Jersey, which is pretty much like centralized suburbs. So we're next to some doctors' offices, some lawyers' offices. We've got about 5 little offices in here. It's a very cute, humble little office. But it's awesome because we're all really close together, and we have a small team here at the league office, so it fits exactly what we need. But I remember I toured the NHL offices a few years ago, meeting with some of the team services people there, and they've got 5 floors up and down, and they were like, your office is probably pretty similar. I was like, yeah, it's about the size of half of your 1 floor over here. So it depends on the level, but yeah, it's awesome to work for the league and to work with all the teams like Kalamazoo, and just I'm grateful because since I've started at the league, we've had women representation in a big way. I think probably all the years I've been here, we've been at least 50% women at the front office, which is so cool. And I've had a lot of women mentors to look up to here, and then just traveling to the different teams. There's so many women in the front offices across our different teams, and that's only growing. So it's been really exciting and motivating to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell everyone, I'll walk everyone through real quick. So if they're new to hockey and understanding our league, the ECHL, first off, the ECHL does not stand for anything anymore. It used to. It used to stand for the East Coast Hockey League, but now it's just ECHL because we have teams all over the U.S. and into Canada, so it's not the East Coast anymore. So it's just ECHL. Yeah. We are affiliated at the pro levels, and so the Kalamazoo Wings were affiliated with the Abbotsford Canucks and then up into the NHL with the Vancouver Canucks. So all of our teams are affiliated within the pro hockey circuit, if you will. So Tara's position is one at the league office of serving and helping all of our teams drive revenue, celebrate success stories, retain good talent, some of the things that are in her bio. So a very different position than someone like me who's only focused on Kalamazoo, although I have league-wide responsibility as a governor, but that's a whole different ball of wax. So talk about what that's like, Tara. How do you balance your role, because you're growing in your role, and the league is growing. So you as a professional is growing, but this league is, now we're capping out at 32 teams as of right now, but it has grown significantly. So how do you balance all of this, this workload?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot, and the league has grown significantly since I started, which is awesome. And I think when I first transitioned from being kind of an office marketing manager into the team services role, the first year was just a lot of learning because each team is so different, and what they're going to need from me and from the league is different, and that can change year to year too. So I think for me, the first year was just learning as much as I could about the different teams, and having calls with them, trying to travel as much as I could to different teams and meeting with the staff and figuring out what they needed from me, and how I can support them at the league level. And so that's all different. And now being three years into the team services role, I kind of have a handle on the teams, but of course that changes, with staffing and everything. But I do the best that I can to try to have as much information at the league, whether that's information on best practices and theme nights and promo nights that other teams are doing, or setting revenue goals at the beginning of the year. There's so many different ways that we can help the teams, and it helps me feel connected to them from the league side too, just because I work with them so much. But it's definitely a lot of work, and it kind of fluctuates based on the time of the season that we're in. But it's ever changing, and there's never a dull moment, and it's, a lot of times I'll get asked what my day-to-day is, and it's never the same.
No, I get asked that question too, and I'm like, well, I'm in a lot of meetings, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, which month are you asking about? Because it varies depending on the time of season for sure.
So Tara's traveling, you're traveling a lot, you're meeting the different Tonys of the league, but oftentimes you're probably working with maybe the GM or the governor, but VP of ticket sales, somewhere director of sales, something along those lines, and not all the time, but I don't want to overgeneralize. But I guess my point is there are a lot of personalities in this league, Tara. There are a lot. And if you guys aren't watching this, she's grinning because there are a lot. So how do you, and there's people that are just doing their thing and they're kind of just off doing it, and they're kind of self-sufficient. And then there are those that really are in a rebuild or growth or new franchise or an expansion team. Then there's the squeaky wheels who just are always squeaking. So how do you navigate and kind of work around all the different personalities?
Yeah, it's tough, and it's definitely a lot. And I think going back to just learning and meeting people in person helps the most. I think like when I can be on site at a team and I can meet with the director of sales face to face, and then I learn all the different staff that they have under them, and then I'll try to sit with the president or the GM if possible, and just kind of learning their personalities and hearing the background of their team and their hiring structure and what their goals are, what they're looking for. That's the most helpful for me. So I try to travel. I try to hit 8 teams a year, and each year I try to add on a few teams that I haven't been to before. It's always easier for me to go to the ones that are driving distance centralized around here, but I try to travel to a few that I've never been to before so I can meet the staff face to face. And it helps too for them because they put a name to my face, so that they reach out to me a lot more during the season when they need something from me and they know how I can help them at the league level. And yeah, like you said, there's some teams that have been operating for a number of years. They've got what works for them. They don't need a ton from us, unless something comes up. And then there's some that are just starting in our league and pretty much need to build from the ground up. So each team will kind of have those different needs, and that can change too. There's some teams that have been operating for a few years, and then they have a year where there's a lot of turnover, and then they lean on the league a little bit more to help with some of that. So it fluctuates back and forth.
Yeah, it does. And I want to paint a picture for everyone on this. Like these teams, all of us, are like we are small businesses. I know it doesn't look that way on the outside because we're bringing thousands of people in for pro hockey, but we really are. And we're all structured a little differently, but we're really truly small businesses in our community. We do a lot with very little staff at this level of hockey. Yeah. Now, there are some teams like Toledo, for instance, the Walleye, they also operate the Mud Hens, which is a baseball team, and so their staff is bigger, and the sizes vary, but it is, we are all small businesses, so it's not, I don't know, it's not the big scale that people envision. And what you're offering, and with some consultants that have been with the league for a long time, has helped to, as the teams get more profitable and manage their expenses better, then overall the league is, thriving. And it really is about how each team operates. So I want to talk about that. Because you're visiting all these teams, what have you notated is the cultures where they're really, because culture is so important in a front office. The ones that are doing it well, what do you notice that they're doing that is allowing them to thrive and enjoy what they do in the crazy hours we work? What are some of the things you notice in those type of cultures?
Yeah, definitely when there's one common team goal that everybody on the staff is working towards, because there's some times where, people can get siloed in their own different departments, and ticketing has one goal, and marketing has another goal, and social, and everybody's kind of separated. But I think when the team has one common goal, whether it's a revenue number they're looking to hit, whether it's an attendance figure, whether it's all of those things, and kind of everybody is involved in that one shared goal, and have whatever kind of cadence of meetings that is. But when sales and marketing work together to form the promo schedule, to form the theme nights, and then those two departments work with social to help promote that in different ways. So I think when everybody is when there's a synergy between all the different front office departments, and it could be tough because everybody has a lot of work on their plate. Like you said, there's small front offices, and there's no shortage of things to be done. So people can kind of get focused in their certain area of expertise, and we see that at the league level too. It's easy to get kind of just absorbed in what you're doing, but I think we've even tried to be better with that and having bi-weekly meetings and monthly meetings where all of us get together and it's like, what are we trying to achieve here all together? Because every single part of this front office needs to work together to help achieve that. It's not just tickets who are going to sell and bring in the revenue. It's everybody together that's going to make that happen.
Yeah. Who's your favorite hockey? Who's your favorite franchise?
In the ECHL?
Mm-hmm.
I can't have a favorite ECHL team. There's definitely places I like to visit depending on the time of year and the location. I grew up as a big Rangers fan growing up in New Jersey. That was my hockey team from as long as I can remember. So watching games, going to games, it'll be the Rangers.
Okay, not the Kalamazoo Wings.
I do love the Kalamazoo Wings. If you guys were closer, I'd be there all the time.
I know you would be. I just had to give you shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a loaded question for sure. All right. I want to step back, Tara, because Tara, with your career path in sports, I want to talk about this because you're young and you've had you've come into this career and you've really done what a lot of young people are looking to do. They get this great job and they're starting to work their way up. So I get asked this quite a bit, and I'm sure you do too, because you sit on panels and you're traveling a lot and working with front offices. What advice would you give to someone who wants to work in sports? Where do they start, and how do you guide them or mentor them? Just because they're probably you're looking up to you and what you've accomplished since you've started with the league and even before that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the K-Wings, everyone.
No, it was not. It was a small few, but there was a few. FedEx labels. But I kind of always just wanted to learn more. So if there was any chance for me to sit with somebody who was in a different department than me, I would just ask questions to everyone. Like I would follow hockey ops around and just ask, a million questions about trades and transactions and all that stuff, which I'm still learning years later, but there's just so much there. I was able to work very hands-on with our commissioner, Ryan, who's my boss, and he has just years and years of incredible information about the league, so asking him questions whenever I could. And then once those positions did open at the league office, I was able to move up because I was interested in learning more and interested in helping out. And I think that can apply to probably any job in sports, whether you're at a team or a league or something else. Just don't be confined by what your job title is. Learn as much as you possibly can, because you never know who you're going to run into who doesn't know that much about the ECHL, and they're going to ask questions about any range of topics, whether that's hockey ops, whether that's player development, whether that's the front office stuff. So knowing as much as I can is always helpful for me when I'm talking to people who don't know about the league, when I'm talking to teams that are in the league. So I think it was just I always wanted to learn as much as I could, and not only would that help me move up when the opportunity presented itself, but it would also help me do my job better. Just understanding how the league works as a whole was really helpful for me. So once there was an opportunity to move into team services, I had been assisting on a few different projects for Rich when he was here, and I wanted to learn more, so there was just an opportunity to keep going.
Yeah, so I wrote 3 things down, and really probably 2 apply, and I want to underscore them. You started in an entry-level position, so there was no ego. You were just like, I need to start somewhere, so I'm going to, I'm not letting the title, to your point, hang me up. And you were a very curious person. You asked questions. You followed people around. What you did is you said, I don't know about this. I want to learn. And so yes to all of that. And one of the things I tell people too, is maybe consider a job that's not in sports, and it might lead you there. And people are like, huh? And I'm like, well, if you were hear my story, I did not apply for this job. I applied to be a manager at a high-end fashion boutique and happened to land in the hockey world. And so you just never know if it, like, take a look at the ownership group who owns the team, do some research, see what else they own. And then you could maybe work in that business, because oftentimes owners that own a pro sports team own other businesses in the community.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about you personally, because you're not just your occupation. So
Yeah.
let's talk. You got married. How long has it been? A year and a half now?
No, I got married in October, so it's been a little over 6 months.
Oh
Yeah.
God, I was a year off. Okay,
Yeah.
so six. So you're a newlywed.
Yeah.
You're newlywed. Okay, so talk about like what does that look like for you in terms of what your husband does for a living, how you balance this crazy world, because it's not just one team, y'all, that she's working in. There's 30 of us right now, and we're in playoffs right now, and they're starting to plan All-Star, which is in January, and. So tell us, tell me whatever you're comfortable with in terms of your marriage, how you guys balance this, how it works, what he thinks of hockey, all the things.
Yeah, I would say our situation is pretty untraditional. So he's a pilot in the Army, actually. So we're both currently based in upstate New York. We're both from New Jersey, born and raised in the same county in New Jersey. We met in college. And then after college, he joined the Army, and I stayed with my parents working at the league office because they are about like 30 minutes from where the office is based. And then eventually we moved to upstate New York, which is where he's stationed now. So I'm remote for the league most of the time, but he is away on trainings a lot. So his job travels a lot, he's away a lot. So when he is away, I usually come home, and then I work in office. So we're both traveling probably most weeks out of the year, which is crazy. So when we are together, we try to take advantage of that time and kind of disconnect from work and enjoy that time, because it is few and far between. Right now I've been at home in office for a month. He's training in Louisiana, so we're kind of back and forth, and I think we both understand each other's crazy schedules, so it helps a lot instead of one of us being super busy and traveling all the time and the other person at home all the time by themselves. So it kind of balances out, but it's definitely been a whirlwind of both of us all over the place at one time. But it works, and we make it work. So yeah, it's nutty, but we both, and he loves the ECHL. He thinks it's super cool. I'm hoping that he can come to one of our events, like an All-Star in the future, because he's always like, I want to see what it looks like from the league perspective. And he's been to a few games, and he always has an awesome time.
So any marriage tips out there for how because it is like you all are newlyweds and you both travel a lot, or you're apart for big chunks of time because of his job and where he's stationed, and your job if you're traveling. So what do you guys do to prioritize communicating with one another or staying connected? Because that can be really hard when you're both super busy in your careers and working to aspire your dreams when it comes to work.
Yeah, and communication too, it depends on where we're at. Like, he's in a training right now where I can text him for a few hours a day, at most, for I think a month and a half. So there'll be times when we're communicating briefly throughout the day, then there'll be times when we can communicate more than that. But I think when we're together at home, when both of us are not traveling, we pretty much do everything together. We're just best friends. Like, everything, whether it's running errands, whether it's going on a walk, whether it's we're just doing everything together since we're apart so much, and like we just have the most fun together. Like, we're besties. Like, we just everything we do is together. So I think that helps, like prioritizing that time that we're together and planning fun things to do in our area, and like little weekend trips when we're both home, and just like making the most out of that time together, because it can be tough, and there could be like, when we're both back together in a few weeks, it'll be like, I haven't really talked to you that much in a month, so tell me about your life and what's going on. But then, yeah, just trying to plan those little trips and those fun things when we are both at home.
So let me ask you a question. Josh and I laugh about this because I was out of town this past weekend. I was gone for 4 days, and I got back like at 1 a.m. this morning, and I'm like, did you miss me? And he goes, not really. And I go, yeah, I didn't miss you either. But we're not offended, right? We are what you're saying. We're true partners. We're best friends. We stay connected, but it's not like, I don't know, we support each other's independence. And that's what I'm hearing from you all. We're just in a different stage of life because we're empty nesters and you're just starting out. Does that sound accurate in your marriage too?
Yeah, like if there's a week that we're together, or a few weeks that we're together, and a work trip comes up for me, like he's always like, you should go if it's good for your career, if it's good for, if it's something that you want to do for work that will help you, like you should always go. So he's super supportive of things that come up for me and my crazy schedule, and same with him. If there's a training that's going to help him in his career in the long run, I always want him to take that opportunity. So, and I think right now where we're at, newly married, we don't have kids, we don't have a ton of concrete responsibilities tying us to one place. Like, we want to take advantage of that traveling and those opportunities right now where we're at, and then reconnect when we're together. And I think it helps too, because if there's a week or a weekend that we're apart, it feels like nothing since we've done months before, so it makes the time together a lot easier.
Yeah, totally. All right, I'm gonna change gears and talk about the women in your life. So I started this podcast because I originally was going to start it specifically about women in sports. And I decided that I didn't want to do that because women, as I just stated, I don't know, 5 minutes ago or so, women are so much more than their occupations. Plus, there are women in all different parts of my life that I'm interested to hear their stories, and I want to tell their stories. So I kicked out the word sports. I threw in the 3 dots. And I also wanted men on the podcast, too. You mentioned your boss, Commissioner Creelan. He was a guest on this podcast in the early, I don't even know what episode. I think it was under episode 10, like 1 to 10, somewhere in there. And so Ryan was a guest as well. Because there are important, well, first off, men came from women. The word men is in women, and that men have important women in their lives. And so I really wanted to expand the storytelling. And so, but when I have women on the podcast, I like to ask this question, which is, if you were to fill in those dots for you, Tara, what would that be? Women in what?
Like the women in my life, you mean?
I'm going to go there next. We can, and the women in your life. I want to know the women who, we'll wrap it all up in one. Who are the women in your life that have helped you become where you're at in your life now? And how would you fill in those dots?
Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful to have an awesome support system of women. First person that comes to mind is my mom. She's the best. We're best friends. And I see her a lot because, again, when I come home, when Sean's training or if I'm traveling, I come stay with my parents. So I'm so happy and lucky that I have them to go visit when I'm in office and when I'm home. So she's always been amazing since I was growing up. I have 3 sisters. They're all amazing. 2 of them are moms. And so just watching them kind of go through that journey has been awesome. And, I spend a lot of time with my nieces when I'm home. So that's amazing. And then I think this is a new one for me just based on my situation, but being up in New York and on or around a military base, we're off base, but we're pretty close. Just all of the powerful women that hold the fort down when, their husbands or boyfriends are traveling and off training. And there's such a huge support system of those women that, really get everything done when their husbands are gone. And there's a strong community there just because a lot of them, people are traveling from all over to be on that base. People are from all different states, all different countries, and they might not have family close by. So there's a nice, strong sense of community at the base, and all the women get together and do a lot of things when the men are gone for a long time. So that's always really nice, and meeting them and where they all come from and their different backgrounds has been really cool to see.
Oh, that's such a great point. I want to come back. What's your mom's name?
Claudia.
Claudia, you raised a good one. So
yeah, she'll probably listen to this and she'll get really excited.
Yep, Claudia. What a beautiful name too. Okay, so how would you fill in the dots, Tara, for you? Women in what?
I mean, women are everywhere, which is awesome. Like women in sports, which again, like you mentioned, I've done a bunch of panels this year, and it's just so awesome to see the different communities of women come together, especially for these panels. Like, all the ones that I've been a part of this year and the ones that I've seen other teams do, the audience is filled. There's so many good questions. There's so many women looking to get into sports. So I think just even women in sports could be talked about for hours on end, which is awesome because that was not always the case. And I was doing a women in sports panel in Worcester, and one of their local colleges has, I believe it's a women in sports major now. It's a brand new major. that the college is promoting, and they had a professor and some students come, and they had t-shirts, and so the enthusiasm is so awesome, and just to be able to travel around the country in the league and see that, and see it grow, and with what you're doing at the league level, across the league, getting the women together, it's just so cool, and it makes me excited, and the numbers keep growing every year, and it's inspiring.
Yeah, and one of the things I like to point out about women in sports, there's two different sections, I don't know, groupings. There's women athletes, and then there's women in the front office on the business side. And sometimes the athletes come over to the business side, but we're in men's pro hockey, so that's a little different. But I always like to point that distinction out because we face different challenges as women depending on where we are in sports. So Tara and I are on the business side and front office side, league side type of stuff. But I always want to point that out because those pro athletes, that's a whole different other ball of wax. But we're seeing a huge growth in women's hockey. Like, I mean, the Olympics this year incredible. And the PWHL. I mean, what do you think about that as you see this enthusiasm around women's hockey growing?
It's really cool. And two of the panels that I was on, there was somebody from the PWHL on both of them. So just getting to talk to them about their league and the excitement around that. And I mean, watching them do, I think it's either the Town Takeover or the Takeover Tour. I always get the name wrong. But when they go to different arenas and they play in different arenas, and watching them sell out these crazy arenas like TD Garden and Madison Square Garden, it's so cool to see, and to see that excitement be accepted within the hockey community, whether it's people who want to watch women's sports or people who just like sports in general and they're being exposed to something new. It's been so cool, and I think they just announced 3 new teams or a few new teams this week, so watching that expansion has been super cool.
Yeah, it has, and they just announced in Michigan an expansion into Detroit, which is really cool for pro hockey, women's pro hockey. Cool. Let me ask this: team services committee or team services is part of your role. I was the chair of the team services committee for I don't know, at least 5 years, but I stepped down now this season. I'm focusing on the new arena we're building here in Kalamazoo, which is opening up in 17 months, which is super exciting. But one of the other baton I handed over to Tara was hosting the league awards. So each year, the league awards, I was hosting them for a long time, and then I was like, it's time, I'm done, there's enough, Tony. So Tara graciously stepped into it, because I was like, I want to see a woman up there doing this, like, because I get women. So are you hosting them again this year?
I am, yes. I'm changing it a little bit, the format, but yes, I'm hosting the awards, overseeing the awards. I got some inspiration from the NHL League Awards when I went to their business meetings, and so I'm changing a few things around, and I'm super excited. But yes, hosting the awards again. This will be, I think, my 3rd year now doing that. So yeah, that's fantastic. So the K-Wings, how many nominations do we have? So much. Sweep across the board.
Dang it, I keep trying to catch her. She's on her toes today, everyone.
Yeah, the submissions are awesome from all the teams, because it's so cool to see all of the, the stuff that the teams are super passionate about, and all the photo and video at the end of the year is like one of my favorite things to go through and just see everything. And we've finally got the finalists ready to go. We're going to be voting. We have a panel voting on the awards this year as well, so that's super cool. So yeah, I'm excited about that. It's in Nashville this year, and we're actually having the awards presentation at Bridgestone Arena. The Nashville Predators worked with us to host it there, so it's going to be really cool, and I'm excited.
Yeah, so the original plan in Nashville, because I host a women in sports event each year, and I'm hosting it again, and Maverick Sports Housing sponsors it. And our plan was for me to do this podcast with Tara live, and we record it. And I've done live podcasts for the National Sports Forum and for the ECHL before, but she's too busy running around. So I said, well, let's do a recorded one in the virtual studio. And so I didn't tell you this, but what we're going to do is Sandra Bowler, who is with Maverick Sports Housing, she's going to do a podcast takeover, and she's going to interview me, and she's going to host my podcast really cool. at that event.
That's awesome. That's going to be super cool.
Yeah. So I've never done it before. Yeah, so I was like, let's do a podcast takeover. And so we're meeting this week to talk about that. So it's gonna be fun, and you're changing stuff up, I'm changing stuff up, and that's what this is. We're evolving, we're growing, we're still lifting teams up, women up, men up, everyone up. So it'll be a fun time to learn and celebrate. And I'm taking my team to the American Hockey League meetings in June. We're gonna go because it's in Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, yeah, that's awesome. I hear great things about their meetings, so that'll be really cool for your staff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on the Women in Sports Networking event, I'm excited because
So
last year even like I got a lot of comments from men around the league who were like, "Hey, am I able to come to this event? I know it's a women networking event, but I want," and I'm like, "Yes, it's open to everybody." So I did put that on the agenda this year, so there's no confusion. But it's there's buy-in from the women and men across the league for that event, so it's really cool.
that is awesome. Thank you for doing that, because we found too at the National Sports Forum, where I hosted the event and did a live podcast there. There were 400 people this past February at that event, and it's growing, and it was men and women. And a lot of my allies have been men in this space, and it's not to exclude men, it's all about inclusivity, not exclusivity. So I'm happy to
Yeah,
hear that. That's
yeah.
fantastic.
I was excited to hear that too.
So, Terry, you talked earlier about being a curious person. What are you learning about right now? Like, whether you're reading a book or listening to a podcast, what are you learning about?
So I'm actually, and this is kind of like a outside of work hobby thing as well, but I'm training for a half marathon, and it's my first time doing like long distance running. I did track in high school, but I was always a sprinter, short distance, and so I kind of wanted to. I was like stagnant in my fitness journey. I was into lifting weights for a long time, and then I moved and switched gyms and just kind of got out of my routine, and I needed something to like focus on, and I kind of like when I have a set plan and an agenda and something to do. So right now I'm learning a lot about running because there's so much to learn, and there's so many techniques and different ways, and I'm learning how to structure my training program to get better at long runs and to work myself up to that half marathon, and I'm learning how to fuel and so many things. It's like overwhelming how much information there is about running. That's kind of been my little side project for the past few weeks. The half marathon is on Labor Day weekend, so I have, I think, 16 more weeks to go. But that's been really cool to see, and just kind of, learning different things about my body and, how to properly train for this. And my husband's a runner too, so he's been helping me and running with me and kind of coaching me. But that's been a new area of fitness that I'm unknown to. So
Oh, you're gonna love it. I spent many years in that space, and I
yeah,
really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, there is so much. I mean, just getting dressed to run, because there's
yeah,
depending on the temperature, the distance, if you're chafing, if you're how to fuel, how do you carry stuff on you, fuel belts,
yep.
visors, sunscreen, chapstick. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
There's so many things. It's overwhelming, and even like, going to the running store and getting fitted for the right shoes, and then what's the temperature going to be like? Am I going to be cold? Yeah, like the running belt and trying to fit all my stuff, and what do I actually need? And like it's so much, but it's fun, and it's fun to learn, and I wanted to start training with a lot of weeks so that I could, trial all the different things and see what works for me before the actual race day. But I'm enjoying it more than I thought I was going to.
It is. It's a real confidence builder, because you start to. I'm just thinking back to my running days, and you really start to build confidence when you start hitting those distances. And for me, I wasn't a runner growing up. I was a gymnast and a cheerleader, and so distance, I felt like my ass was always chasing me when I first started running. And then your body starts to really, as your muscles shift and change, because you as you achieve these different mile markers, literally your confidence grows, and then you get the runner's high. And I tell you what,
Yeah.
it really is. It's a lot of fun. So that's
It's
exciting.
really fun. And yeah, when I started, like a few years ago, I trained like weeks long training for a 5K. Like it was like one of those couch potato to 5K. And I remember like I was running a half a mile, and then I would walk, and then a half a mile. And like I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to run 13 miles straight. And like the concept is just like, there's no way that I could possibly do that. But the training plans work, and you just add 1 mile a week, and you keep being consistent with it. And now like I'm up to the point where I'm running like 5 to 7 mile long runs, and every time I do it, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Like, I can't believe that I'm doing this, and it's fun. So yeah, that has been super fun for me, and it's just a nice outlet outside of work, like going on a run after work or before work. It just like gets my mind in a good place.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of my best thoughts when I was running. So
Yeah.
I'll be cheering you on for that race. I can't wait to
you.
hear about it. Well,
Yeah, I'm
I'll
excited.
see you at Board of Governors in September, and you'll have to tell me about it. So,
Yep, yeah, it'll be like a few weeks after
Uh,
that, so.
well, that's really exciting. What question? When you're running, do you wear headphones or do you just go, on your own? Are you listening to
I'm-
anything when you're running or not?
I only wear headphones on the treadmill. When I'm outside running, I find it helpful to like listen to my steps and like my breathing when I'm running. Like I feel like it helps me get oriented. And also when it's nice out and I can hear the birds, like I just enjoy listening to the outside sounds. But if I'm on the treadmill, which is usually like my tempo runs where I'm trying to go faster, I need to be like locked in with my music.
Yeah. Do you have a goal time?
Not yet. I think once I'm like a month out, then I'm gonna start to plan what my time is. But I'm hoping for around 2 hours, I think. But once I get like closer
Okay,
in the
that's-
training,
yeah.
I'm gonna pick like a set time like that I think I can actually do.
Yeah, and you just pick that pace group and run with them or run near them or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Tara, well, I'm going to be cheering you on. That's really exciting. I can't wait to hear how you do. And if you need any tips, you can come to me and I'll tell you what chafing. Get Aquapour. I'll just tell you now. Get
Yeah.
Aquapour for chafing because it's the worst. And put it
Got
on.
it.
Put it on like all the places. So. Oh, this has been
yeah,
so
I will
much fun,
definitely
Tara.
let you
People are
know.
looking to connect with you. Okay, good. Well, people are looking to connect with you. Where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn. It should be Tara Martinek. I'm like trying to remember on every platform if I updated my maiden name or not. But Tara Martinek on LinkedIn, on the ECHL website. I'm trying to post more on LinkedIn, so that's probably the easiest place to find me.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on, and I love watching you grow in your career and thrive. And I've been cheering you on from the beginning, and I will continue to. So keep kicking ass, my friend.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. This was super fun. It was glad to connect again because, it's been so busy. I feel like we haven't really, connected in a while. So I appreciate you having me on, and I'm excited to see you in person in a few weeks.
I know. I can't wait. It'll be great. Fantastic. Nashville, here we come. All
Nashville,
right,
here we
everyone. If you all are looking to connect with me, I'm not hard to find. The hockey side of my life is at kwings.com. And then everything else project-wise I'm working on, which the big one is my book, Rebellious Success. It is available for pre-order now, and it will be in your mailbox and in bookstores and, everywhere, August 11th. So, and you can find that at tonywill.com, and I'm on all social media platforms as well. Until next time.